help me welcome Toastmaster Bil Sadler.
Thank you. As difficult as it is to admit, I am an addict. Toastmaster of the day, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guest. Not a single day goes by that I don't drink at least 5 to 7 cups of coffee. I'm so addicted to coffee, there hasn't been a day in 25 years that I didn't start my morning with a cup of coffee. But there almost was. And on that day, without caffeine, I thought I was going to die. What you'll leave with today are the 3 lessons I learned from the coffee shop. These 3 lessons taught me what it means to have a true spirit, attitude of service, especially in difficult situations. I remember that day without caffeine like it was yesterday. It was a cold, rainy Saturday morning. And I'm an early riser, so I was up about 5:30. I headed straight to the kitchen to switch on the automatic drip coffee maker. But nothing happened. I unplugged it, plugged it back in, still nothing. Now, if you're a coffee drinker like me, or a coffee addict like me, you'll understand this is when I began to panic. But I remembered an El Cheapo coffee maker we received as a wedding gift, and the last time I saw it, it was in the attic. Well, I didn't want to wake anyone that early in the morning, so I slowly pulled down the attic stairs, climbed up, searched that attic as best I could, but that coffee maker was nowhere to be found. As I was climbing down the stairs, I remembered a wedding we had attended a few months earlier, and I'm almost positive we re-gifted that coffee maker to those folks. Now, it's okay to re-gift, just make sure they're not the ones that gave it to you in the first place. Right. Here it was now, 5:45 on a cold, rainy Saturday morning, and no coffee. I had no choice but to get dressed, throw on a hat, and drive down to the Starbucks about a mile from the house. When I got there, I jumped out of the car, ran through the rain to the door, and would you believe it? The door was locked. After a few minutes, the young lady working that day finally opened the door. She greeted me with a smile and a good morning. Well, it wasn't a good morning for me so far, but at least she had a positive attitude. I made my way to the counter to order. Let's see. Yes, I'll have a grande dark roast coffee, please. Sir, we're out of coffee this morning.
Oh, wow.
Out of coffee this early in the morning? You gotta be kidding me. At this point, I wanted to lose it. I started to get mad, but how can you get mad when it's a coffee shop that's out of coffee? That's just ridiculous. A good metaphor? It was like an episode of Candid Camera. Have you ever had a bad day that just keeps getting worse? Apparently, a severe thunderstorm the night before had shorted out all the coffee machines. This brings me to the first lesson I learned at the coffee shop. Anything, and I do mean anything, can happen. Most days things go as planned, but every now and then it's going to happen. Murphy was having one of those kind of days when he wrote Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong at the worst possible time. Anything can happen. According to her name tag, the young lady's name was Rachel. Rachel, what are you going to do? I felt sorry for her. You're about to be bombarded with a boatload of angry customers. She looked panicked, but she assured me she had already called the manager, and the manager had called the repairman. I wished her good luck, and I headed toward the door. And just as I was about to push the door open to leave, "Sir, wait!" Rachel came running from around the counter and picked up a box from the retail display in the middle of the store. She opened the box and pulled out a French press. "Sir, our coffee machines may be broke, but we have hot water. If you'll just give me 5 minutes, I'll make you some of the best coffee you've ever had." Lesson number 2. When things don't go as planned, you must be able to think on your feet. For the next hour or so, Rachel made French press coffee for every customer that came in that door until the manager arrived at 7. The manager hurried in, saw all the French presses lined up on the counter. "What in the world are you doing? You can't open all these boxes. Who's going to pay for them? Did you at least charge for the coffee you made? What in the world were you thinking?" It was Rachel's response that made a lasting impression on me. And it was such a simple response. I didn't have time to worry about that. I was just trying to make the customers happy. After hearing that, I went up to the counter. "Rachel, you were right. That was some of the best coffee I've ever had. Can I buy one of those French presses from you?" Several other customers followed until we bought every French press in the store. So what was the third lesson I learned from the coffee shop? You must have an attitude of service. Rachel could have had a bad attitude. She didn't. She could have charged me for that French press coffee. She didn't. She could have sent me elsewhere to look for coffee, but she didn't. Rachel had an attitude of service. In summary, the 3 lessons I learned at the coffee shop are: anything can happen. You must be able to think on your feet, and you must have an attitude of service. So the next time you're having a Murphy's Law kind of day, remember these 3 lessons and you'll have the best recipe to turn what could be an awful experience into an awesome experience. Thank you.